Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. Back again, another week has gone by. A lot has happened this past week. A lot of good things, big things, interesting things. We're all going to talk about this right now. Before I do, I kind of had a little thought about today. Something that I think that is, I actually had to look it up online because I was so interested and I was so curious to think that this might be an actual thing that is inevitably part of humans. Me and you listening to this podcast. I mean, of course, a dog could probably be listening to this podcast as well, but I'm pretty sure a dog cannot comprehend this podcast as much as a human can. But, you know, that being said, the act of being honest, the act of telling the truth, the act of not lying, inherently to me sounds like it is inherently what we do as humans is being honest, and lying is not inherently human. Now, I think that lying could definitely be picked up, and it could definitely be like a bad habit, or lying is not a good thing, and lying usually never gets you anywhere. And if you lie, you could be easily found out if you lied. Big lie, little lie, it doesn't really matter. But my point is, inherently, I think that us as human beings, that we as a species inherently are honest creatures. We enjoy telling the truth. We enjoy being honest with people. At least I do, because like most people, like everybody, I think we've all lied about things or even attempted to lie. It's a hard thing to do, to actually try to lie to somebody's face. At least, in my experience and seeing people do it, in my personal self attempting to lie, it's a very, very hard thing to get yourself to commit to. Lying is, it is one of the 10 commandments, right? That thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor or something like that. So it is a 10 commandment, written by Jesus Christ himself. But I feel like it also probably dates back to even before that. Like, the act of lying, at least, for all people I've seen, never goes smoothly with people and their behavior after they commit a lie. It's not something that I enjoy, keeping with me, keeping around with me, because it is not a fun thing. And, it's not something that I think that we, as people, are naturally gifted with the ability to lie easily. Some people can probably get away with lying more than others, but I do think that ultimately people do not enjoy lying at all. I mean, I certainly do not. It's not something that even if I do, am proud of, because it's like, if I didn't lie, I wouldn't feel this way. I would not feel this way if I did not lie. And I would wonder if that's the case with everybody. Like, I feel like it must be somewhat of a case because, you've lived your life just like me and you've probably been like, hey, this guy I can tell is lying. He's not behaving or acting the way that he normally would, but he's lying. That must suck for him. It sucks for me because I was lied to, but I'm pretty sure that he is, feeling a little bit more, anxiety inducing, stressed out when you don't even really have to be. And I just feel like, if I always get that pit in my stomach when I lie, it has to be, universal pretty much. Now, I'm not saying that I am, just, we're all the same fundamentally, mentally, I guess, we're just, we're all different in some way or another, but I feel like that, that same, incline, that same DNA evolutionary trait that we all might have is lying doesn't feel good. I don't know, just something I was kind of thinking about because, I don't know, I was just like, when was the last time I lied? I can't really remember. Like lie, like a meaningful lie, like this is some important information that is, affects a lot of people. And I don't lie about that because that totally is like, evil, an evil act. If this information that you have or that you don't have or that you make up, therefore it being a lie, some stuff like that affects other people in their lives, and you still commit that lie, that must feel, absolutely terrible. Now, probably if the person's like desensitized and he doesn't give a damn, he probably doesn't give a shit. Then he's like, what's one more lie, right? But if you're like somebody who's like, nah, I don't want to lie anymore. I don't want to lie to anybody. Then it must affect them like tremendously. So, I'm at the point now in my life where I feel like, you've been around a lot, you've seen a lot of things, you've seen meet people, different types of people, and then you kind of shape your whole outlook is shaped a little bit, because of those experiences. Back when you're a kid or when you're younger, you don't have as many, and you probably haven't met as many people at that point either, but, you kind of like model yourself after other people that you see, and you really, I don't know if that's like the best thing to do is to model yourself off of other people that you see. You're like, oh, this guy's he's a POS. I don't want to be like that. But then again, it's like sometimes like that's like the best thing that you can do. I know you should probably grow from your own experiences, but also other people are part of those experiences as well. And if you're around a bunch of shitty people and you see how those people make other people feel, and you're like, I don't want to do that. I do not want to be like that person. And then I guess, that in a sense is a good way for you to model your character via other people or via other people. That I think in that, that sense is, it's not the absolute worst thing that you can do, but I always kind of viewed it as like, you want to be your own person too. You want to be, you want to be who you are, which I think we all want to do, right? We all want to be ourselves. We don't want to follow or copy other people in this world. I don't know about you, but when I was also younger, I tried to dress, like some people in school. Tried to, wear the similar type of shoes as these people because it looked cool. Because it was, to me, it looked like, oh, shit, that's some cool ass shirt. That's some cool shoes. What if I had that? What if I dressed more like that? Would people like me more? It's not really, not to get sappy. It's not to get, attention like you think. You also kind of do it for yourself because, you seem to like, that person's shoes that you probably have never seen before sparked in your brain like, yo, those shoes are sick. Like in some instances, we all have our own tastes, our own interests. But I do think that there are some things out there that have universal interest. Like, for example, a good pair of shoes, Nikes. Let's just give like a good pair of Nikes, cool pair of Nikes. while not really universal, like universal being 100%, but like it has a broad interest in the quantity of people. Like there's so many people out there that think that Nike has some good ass shoes. And I think that they do have amazing shoes out there. Same with like, a pair of Converse, those are some badass shoes. And a lot of people think that those are some badass shoes. Like there's just some things out there where you can't help but be like, that shit's sick. That shit's cool. I want that. And not, have to battle with yourself like, oh, I want to dress like this guy. Like, no, that's just universally cool. Like, we are all human beings. There's something in our brain that we all, can relate to because we are all the same species. We find similar things of great intrigue or great interest or great attractiveness. We all find, in some way, shape, or form, we like that shit. As basic as I can make it right now, right? As basic as I can make it right here, right now. Any dude who is straight is gonna like, this girl. Some pretty girl. Pretty much every dude's gonna be like, yep, I like her too. Every single person. People who like, cool cars, they're gonna be like the same thing with like either Ferrari, or a Maserati or a Bugatti, whatever other freaking Italian cars are, BMWs. It doesn't have to be Italian, doesn't matter. But like cool things like that. We all have, a lot of people have similar interests, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's all about being, I guess, like how you want to be, viewed. Do you want to be viewed as a car guy? The guy who wears cool shoes. But it's not like, we're trying to steal your interests. It's like, hey, we're not all that complex either. Like, I'm not the most complex guy out there. I don't really know that there's a lot of people out there that are that complex and what they, tend to enjoy, what they like. There's a lot of people out there that fucking love anime. They love that shit. They can't get enough of it. Like, they watch so many animes, it's like they lose count of how many there are, how many they're watching, what they're caught up on, what they're, reading from magma to anime. It's I know a lot of people that I know watch anime and shit like that. So it's like, yeah, that's all you, but it ain't for me. In fact, I fucking despise it, but I'm not here to bash, right? It's just not my thing. But we all have similar interests. That's the beauty of being human, is like we're all different, yet somewhat similar. In many ways, very, very, very similar, which is not a bad thing. It really isn't that bad of a thing. If you think about it, why would we not? We're all the same species. We all came from like probably one human, two human. Think about it. How would the species even start? How would our species become a thing if there wasn't at least one man and one woman? How would it not have, now we're getting pretty complex, but what is the tale in the Bible? Adam and Eve, they were the first man and the first woman. Like that, it probably isn't exactly how it happened, but it had to have happened somewhat similar to that. I don't know. Like I'm not a person who is an expert on religion or origins of humanity. I'm not that. I wish I was, but I'm not. But it's fun to think about. As different as we want to be from each other, which I get it. You want to be your own person. So do I. So do you. Still very, very, very similar. One of the big things that we can all also agree on is the fact that we can all, because of our similar interests, that is how we as a species have camaraderie, have community, and have, eventually have families and loved ones and friends. And that's all how we all, gather around, how we all become friends, people that we like to talk to about certain things that we enjoy. and that what we like to do. It's just it really doesn't really matter. You're trying to be yourself, I get it, but also there's no shame in liking things that other people like. And also people shouldn't, be like, hey, you shouldn't like my shit, like your own shit. But dude, I think your shit's pretty cool. Like your shit is awesome. I'm gonna like it too. And there's nothing you can do to stop me. So I don't know, just kind of weird, fun little tangent. But, speaking of being the same, and speaking of like not really changing a whole lot and being very, very similar to one another, one after another, year after year, year after year after year, Apple, a couple days ago, came out and launched, well, not launched, but announced their new lines. New line of phones, new line of watches, bunch of shit that they announced a couple days ago at their Apple keynote for this year. Like I said, it's September, right? This is when it picks up. Apple does this thing where they release new watches, new phones. I don't know if they announced a new iPad, but like they might do that. New products, new hardware from Apple. And I told you guys last year, I got the new iPhone 14 Pro Max as an upgrade from an iPhone XS. Massive upgrade. Needed an upgrade. Been wanting an upgrade. Just never really did it. And they announced their new phones. And I was actually, I wasn't too sure what was going to happen. I wasn't too sure if they were going to go for a complete upgrade with a new number, meaning, 11, 12, 13, 14, now 15. Or are they gonna do like a 10, 10S, back to 8, 8S, 7, 7S, that type of shit, where it's like a soft sequel, not like a full hardcore sequel, but a soft sequel. And I get it that, this is technically a sequel, a new phone, but it's been like maybe 3 or 4 years, no, 4 years, where the phones are not really all that different. And listen, I'm an Apple fan. I really am an Apple fan. And I don't really want them to change the design, the build of the phone or anything, really, because the phone really is, the iPhone does what it's supposed to do, right? It's perfect. But as an Apple fan, you do kind of wonder, and you think about it, is there really is innovation in the smartphone dead? In terms of appeal, at least, I get it. We can change the insides, I'm all for that. But, the same design of the camera, that's what really kind of bugs me. I mean, I'm actually, I'm not a big camera user on my phone. It's nice to have, but I'm not buying a new phone just solely based on what the specs are of the camera. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the camera's great. Don't get me wrong. It's cool. It's nice. It's updated. It's slick. It gets the job done. In fact, it might be a little too slick. When they were describing the new phone, the brand new phone, and the new camera within the phone, one of the big things that they keep saying about these freaking phones, and one of the big things that always changes, I feel like, with these phones, in terms of design, well, actually this year's a couple things, but in terms of design, is the camera. The camera has always been getting better and better and better. Some points, I feel like the camera is the most expensive part of the iPhones. The way that they describe it, it's filmmakers are going to enjoy this. Filmmakers will love this. Filmmakers bro, not everybody who buys your iPhone is a fucking filmmaker. I feel like in terms of marketing your camera and marketing what your camera can do, the ability of the camera, right, and how sharp it is, and you throw out words like filmmaker, editor, and shit like that, it's that regular people are buying your phone. People who are not necessarily trying to become filmmakers, right? Honestly, the only camera that we really care about is the selfie camera. As much as we, have kind of gone away from posting selfies, selfies are still taken constantly through different demographics of people. And I didn't really see too much of a improvement on the selfie camera, the front-facing camera. Like, I understand, right? The current iPhone 14 Pro Max has 3 lenses. I don't know why, but it does. The new one has 3 lenses on the back as well. What is the selfie front-facing camera? 1 lens, pretty sure. So by, general, just like math and stuff like that, obviously the back camera is going to be better, correct? So, but then again, I don't want to see ever multiple cameras on the front, front-facing cameras, right? I just, one is fine. And I don't want it to get bigger either. I think that it should be around the same size. But then again, that is something that I think people would really enjoy, is maybe a better resolution when it comes to selfie photo taking, selfie photography. Could see a boom if the front-facing camera was improved. Now, me personally, I'm not a selfie guy. Never have been, never will be, I think. But never say never. Never say never. What if one day I'm looking good? I'm like, yo, I gotta capture this moment because I don't know if I'm gonna look this good ever again. I'll be completely honest. Snap, snap. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Looking nice, looking fresh. I might as well just keep this, because it's a work of art, in my opinion. And I'm like, yeah, this belongs in a museum. I should send this into the Museum of National History, the most incredible selfie ever taken. Is that actually a thing that's possible? Wouldn't that be a thing that people would consider to be actual modern art? Like modern art that is worth a damn? Because I've seen modern art and I want to throw up in it. I want to throw up at modern art. You know what I think modern art could also be? Somebody could actually vomit into a toilet, take a picture of it, send it in, and be like, this is art. Hang it. I want 15 million because this is art. It's like bullshit. Bullshit. Now I'm a classical art type of man. I love the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa is elite. One of the most elite photos ever painted. People ever painted. Now, I'm not sure if her name is actually Mona or Lisa, or it's both. But congrats to the man who painted the Mona Lisa, because it must have taken that man hours to paint that woman, to make her look the way that she did. Incredible. Now, I don't know if the person who modeled, whether it was Mona or Lisa, or actually Mona Lisa, but whoever did that must have been there for hours, just hours getting painted, because she probably thought that this guy was painting. I was like, yeah, I'll sit in for you, as long as you pay me. And then had no idea that the painting would be that famous. And even today, the painting is so famous. It's one of the most renowned pieces of art in the history of humanity. And not just that, but you go and look at, art in other countries. Like you go to Italy and you see the statue of David, and you see the Sistine Chapel where Michelangelo painted, not the turtle, but the real life Michelangelo. I don't know who he is, but his name was Michelangelo. I mean, that's got to be something, right? His name is too cool, to be doubted. I mean, can you believe it? He has 2 first names as his full name, Michael Angelo. How incredible is that? I mean, the guy must have been an actual legend, just, walking around Italy, be like, what's up, ladies? You see the chapel? That's my shit right there. Go pray. Praise God. Thank you. And, just be like, I'm out, I don't know if he painted much of other things, though. Or sculpted. Or did Michelangelo actually also sculpt the statue of David? I'm not too sure. I'm not going to look it up, too, because it takes too much time. But, whoever did it, fantastic artist. Now, that, my friends, is art. That's something that should be celebrated. I mean, sculpting an actual human being into stone is incredible. Like, you just, like, someone just took a hammer and a little toothpick and just, like, ding, ding, and then all of a sudden, motherfucker, like, an actual human being out of this rock, It is so funny just thinking about that. Remember that SpongeBob episode when they're sculpting in art school, and then Squidward is trying so hard to be artistic, right? Trying to be a tryhard at art. But everybody knows that Squidward is a failed artist. The man will practice for day in and day out on his clarinet. And he'll be like, yeah, everybody is going to be shocked at how good I am because I practiced so hard. And then he'll play. And poor son of a bitch would be like the worst thing anybody's ever heard. Cats would be dying. Flies would be dying. People would be fainting, passing out, having strokes because of how bad his playing is. And all he ever wanted to do was just be good at clarinet. Was just to be good. To be solid, to play, and be a solo clarinet player. And he cannot do that because the writers fucking hate Squidward. And you know what? It's the funniest shit ever. It's the funniest shit ever when their own writers are like, fuck this guy. SpongeBob is a man. Fuck Squidward. And we'll just write him into some stupid ass bullshit and, make fun of him for the entire episode. It's quite incredible of what that show has been able to accomplish for such a long time. Like, I haven't seen SpongeBob recently. I really, really hope that the writers, and they are new writers, I hope that the new writers are just as mean to Squidward as the original writers, because those guys did not give a fuck about that poor squid. They're just like, fuck him. We'll just, we'll shove him off a cliff in an episode, and then he'll tumble down, and then he'll explode. And that'll be the joke. Like, incredible. Incredible TV writing, incredible animation, just incredible. I don't know how we got there, but we did. Oh yeah, modern art. Yeah, shit sucks. I mean, I'm tired of seeing a ball, some stupid paint splatter. Like, paint splatters? That is art? That is not, that is just, that is not art. I don't understand, like, what qualifies. I guess it's in the eye of the beholder, right? But I think even then, like, art also is like, good art is recognized by the masses, I think. Why do you think that so many people think that the Mona Lisa is badass? Or why do you think that so many people think Statue of David or the Sistine Chapel is badass? It's something that it just kind of taps into what human beings find as beauty. And I think that, the best art is the art that is like, that most people find the beauty in. Like, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to, win me over with paint splatters and be like, this is art, and then call me a peasant if I think it's not art. Now, I've never been called a peasant because I haven't liked somebody's art. I've been called uncultured, but, it's pretty much the same thing, right? Same thing. But I do think that with art, also, there has to be kind of a threshold in order to be called art. Like, in order for it to be called art, this many people have to, like, be touched, be inspired, being like, holy shit, that's badass. If it's like one dude at like an auction's like, I see what you did there. This is art. This is fantastic. But everybody else is like, what the fuck is this? that should not be considered art. It just shouldn't be. It's not well loved enough for it to be considered something that has reached the rank of art. I don't know. Because if everything is art, really? It's just like that quote from The Incredibles when fucking Buddy doesn't what was it? He's complaining that everybody's a superhero like that. He's like, if everybody's super, then nobody is. If everything is art, then really, like, what is the meaning then? Then that we just not really have to try for it to be called art. I don't know. It just is kind of a silly thought that I had. Last week was a very, very anticipated week for me. You know, I'm a gamer. I've been playing games for a long time. Bethesda finally released Starfield, their new original IP from Bethesda, now an Xbox and PC exclusive. So this game is not available if you have a PlayStation, and I don't think it will be. As you know, Xbox, Microsoft bought Bethesda. I believe it was last year, maybe even before that, but there was rumors thinking like, will Bethesda games going forward, will they only be for Xbox? I'm pretty sure at the moment they are only on Xbox. Like that's their promise is to be like, we are going to be loyal to Xbox and we will make our games for Xbox. And this being their first one that they have made under their new home, under their new owner in Xbox, there was a lot of anticipation and a lot of hype built around this game. Not just for the fact that it was going to be the first Bethesda exclusive only on Xbox and PC, but it was going to be the launch of a brand new IP, which if you've played Bethesda games, their most popular games at the moment are Elder Scrolls, whether it be Skyrim, Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Online, or Fallout. Those franchises have been like their money makers for like the past decade, even more so, even before that. I mean, the first Bethesda game that I started to play was Skyrim. That was the first, like my first introduction into Bethesda games and how they, how their games are played and how their stories are told. And then after that was Fallout 4, and I loved both of them. And then after that they released 76, and I actually don't like that game. I think it's a very bad game. I think it's a waste of money. I think it's a waste of time. But having said that, I do still enjoy the Bethesda games. I like the way that they build their worlds. I think that their worlds are very, very pro-explore, very pro-loot, very pro-doing side quests, very pro just, wandering and doing whatever you want. Not like, killing people, but like you approaching the story and the game at your own pace, at your own will, whenever you want to, really. Like, there has never been a game that's come out, I think, that has you don't need to do really anything in any order than Bethesda games. Like, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt has a little bit of like, you need to do this, or you really should do this now, or wait later to do this. Bethesda games and their games never, for me, have that, like, I need to do this or I can't do this yet. They're very, very pro player in that sense, and I enjoy that aspect of their games, and I really have come to enjoy how that has continued in Starfield and so much more. I have to say, with the launch of Cyberpunk 2077 3 years ago, like many people, many gamers out there that have been very, very critical, have scrutinized, have laid it in on them, have given them shit because they simply don't make games that work or are complete when they launch. They just don't. They're crunched, they have deadlines that they can't make, they don't care, they're understaffed, I don't know why. The reason is they don't have the money. The budget is whack. They're just pushing to make the numbers, the quarterly sales, whatever it may be. I don't know business, but like whatever has been plaguing this, that, or the other, or all of the above, the game industry has been plagued by that for at least what feels like a good 6 years, right? Games come with day one patches for you to update or to download as soon as you purchase the game. As soon as it's downloaded onto your console or PC, they're like, hey, update this to do this and fix that. It's like, why would I do that? But that's just the way it is. That's the way it's been for a while now. So having that possibility, the possibility in your mind of how, remember Cyberpunk, when that shit came out, it did not work. There were so many instances on all platforms where this game just did not run at any playable speed. They had to take it off the Xbox store because it was just like, why are you charging people to play a game that is actually unplayable? Like, if you were to see and go back and see the gameplay on console, particularly on the Xbox One X, even the Series X at the point, it was just not playable. And it was like, this game in particular was shown off in a very, 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 very not true state before it came out. And you would think that, because of how good it was, because of the reputation of the studio, CD Projekt Red, they made The Witcher, which was apparently also very, very bad at launch. Now, I did not experience that launch. I played The Witcher about like 2 years after it came out, for my first time, maybe even more than that. But I did not experience that. And seeing the just how bad it looked on console especially, I was like, oh my God. Like, wow, I actually cannot believe that a studio, publisher, whoever, all of the above, let this game to the market in the way that it was. I could not believe it. And so did Xbox too, and even PlayStation. I think that they pulled the game from their stores. Like, no, we're not having this. This is just not consumer ready. This is not customer ready. This is not consumer ready. If you launch this, you will lose money and you will lose reputation. Like, this is not what you're supposed to do. This is not how business is done. So having that being said, because of Cyberpunk 2077, that is now a possibility. Like, that is now something that we pretty much in the modern day era have to look at games with that in the back of our heads. Like, this new game is coming out, but it could not work at all day one. It's coming out. I'm excited. It looks great. Who knows if it's going to work? Is it going to be bugged? Is it going to be able to run? And now with all this stuff that, that was coming out even before Starfield came out, which was the fact that it was going to be running at 30 frames per second max on console, on Xbox Series X. Like, it was locked at that. You cannot go past that. I was a little like, interesting. New console, new technology, still 30 frames per second? Like, I was like, how and why? Why? I don't understand. But that was months ago. And I have cooled off since then. I kind of forgot about it. I'll be honest, I forgot about that. But it was out there. It was a fact. They stated that fact. And they were like, you know what? We're going to take this on the chin because we are confident that even though it's not going to be 60 frames per second, that we are going to put out a game that is worthy of playing day one, that people will enjoy, that it won't be flawed with bugs, that it won't be unplayable, that it won't crash. Because I remember one of my friends who bought Cyberpunk day one was playing it for like 3 hours, crashed like maybe 4 times within that span of time. I think that he said like every 45 minutes of playing that game, it would crash. Doesn't matter where, when, how often, or not how often, but where he was at. If he saved, it would just crash. And There was nothing you could do about it. Nothing. If you didn't save before that, you forgot to save, you lost all that progress. So like that, because that actually happened, that is now a possibility that gamers and consumers have to take with a grain of salt that, hey, this could happen again. We don't know if that's going to happen again with this game, but it definitely is a possibility. Sorry, that's what Cyberpunk did. That's just now a thing that we have to take into consideration. Now, having said that, this game, Starfield, I'm about 20 hours in the game. 20 hours into it. Mixture of story, wandering, quests, main quests. I've done a bunch. Combat, different guns, melee weapons, ship flying, all that stuff. I have to say, the game, to quote Todd Howard, to quote the great Todd Howard, it just works. Dude, this game is borderline performance, quality, bugs, glitches. There's pretty much none. Like, it's actually a perfectly running game. I actually could not believe it. In the modern day era of video game making, like the game has no problems, no crashes at all from me, no stuttering, no really lag. Maybe frames dip for like a second and then they come back up. It's like, dude, like Bethesda, round of applause. Like, you did the impossible. You actually put out a single player story game that is on Game Pass day one, which was, for me, is very skeptical. As much as I support Xbox, as much as I support Game Pass, a lot of the games that go straight to Game Pass, in my opinion, are not worth playing for a long time. This game, though, it's pretty much perfect. The game is actually perfect. It doesn't bug out. It doesn't glitch up. It doesn't like stutter that much. There's no real bugs that I really caught on to. Maybe a really, really tiny small bugs. Maybe a couple. But like for the most part, like the game is perfect. It just runs. Like, I could not believe it. It was such a breath of fresh air. And I was like, dude, the game works perfectly fine. With all the narrative too, like people thought that this game would just not work at all day one. So many people that I talked to, my friends, were like, it's not going to work. What if it doesn't work? I mean, it's because of Cyberpunk. It's just in our brain. Like that is now a possibility that this just might happen. And even with Star Wars Jedi Survivor, that one had bugs too, crashes and frame rates, and it didn't have like the greatest launch of all time. It wasn't like terrible, but it definitely had some problems. And now you go to Starfield, which was delayed, which was supposed to be released November 11th, 2022, which would have been a sick release date. I mean, 10 years after the launch of... No, what was it? 11 years after the launch of Skyrim, that would have been an absolutely legendary release date. They had to delay it, which made me sad, but it paid off. The game is perfect. I mean, I can't really say it as much as I have. The game actually, there's no problems. There really is, for me, no problems. Now, I'm 20 hours in. I'm not at the most, as most of people have probably played. Definitely have some more to play, but at this moment in the game, I've experienced no major bugs, no major flaws, no major issues. It works. It just works. I'm happy to report that. I'm very, very happy. As for the game itself, the review, no, well, not really review, but my thoughts on the game so far, besides the fact that it works, besides the fact that it does work, the game is just awesome. They built an awesome world here. Like, I mean, like I knew that they're really good at Elder Scrolls and Fallout. Like those are their babies. And I was like thinking, like, are they going to be able to like make a whole new world with a whole new mythology, a new economy, new worlds, new people, new factions, new this, new weapons, new gear, new everything. It's all new. It's all fresh. And it's like, whoa, this is like a whole new side of Bethesda that we never really knew that we wanted. Like, Space Bethesda is fucking sick. Like, they nailed the post-apocalyptic America, and they nailed, like, medieval fantasy, but they also nailed future space exploration. Like, holy shit, these guys did it. Like, they pretty much own, like, 3 pillars of fiction that we just love, and it's just an awesome game. It's really awesome. It's so much fun. It's so fun to get sucked into those Bethesda worlds that just kind of pull you in. And this one, especially the scale that it is, while not as big as you might have thought, it definitely is big. It's such a welcoming universe. It's such a welcoming story. And I will admit that the story and the game does take some time for it to really pick up. That was a critique that I was hearing before I actually got to play the game. And for me, it was true. It actually was true. Like, it does take a while for you to really, really get into the game. There's some things that you got to do that I think that are a little, that pretty time consuming, that kind of take a while for you to really get going. And then after that, when you're let loose, it's like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. This is fucking awesome. And I've said it before. I've said this before, and I said it before we even got hands on the game. I said it when we saw the Starfield Direct back in June, I think. I think it was back in June. I called it the game of the century. I straight up called it game of the century. Now that I played it, I think it might be. Like, the world is just so, like, oh yeah, like this shit is probably going to be, like, go into the books as probably one of the greats of Bethesda. Probably, if I'm being honest, like, better than, like, dude, in terms of world and stuff like that, their best ever. Like, in terms of the world that they have designed, the best at the moment. Like, I can't, like, be like, no, Fallout 4 is better. No, I don't think so. No, Skyrim's better. I don't know. I will say that the Skyrim story so far, well, dude, I'm not even, like, anywhere close to, like, the ending of this game, but, like, the story in Skyrim is definitely super memorable, and, like, that it's going to be hard to top. But I don't think it would have any problem of topping any of the Fallout games. I don't think that that's even a question, that this game has the potential to outdo any Fallout game that they've ever made. Now, that's just me having only played Fallout 3 and 4 and 76, but that one doesn't really count. But, dude, this game is pretty freaking awesome. Like, it might be the game of the century, I realized when I did make that claim, though, that the century also includes Skyrim. And just the sheer, like, pop cultural phenomenon of Skyrim might be hard to beat, even though it is by the same people. But Starfield definitely is worth it. 100% worth playing. A game that really just kind of is just so inviting and so, like, oh, I need to play more. This is such a good game. And right up my fucking alley with what what it's about, space exploration. Are you kidding me, dude? Like that is just, like, the plot points in this game and what it's all about, and, like, the planets that you get to explore. Like, this is fucking sick. Like, thank God they made this game. This is badass. Oh man, but I've been loving it. I've been absolutely loving it. Starfield is just a big win for Xbox, man. An exclusive game on Xbox. This is what they needed, because, I'm also playing God of War Ragnarok. That game is also fucking incredible. Fucking incredible. I'm not finished yet, but at the moment, freaking incredible. Like, amazing. But they needed one, and I'm happy. I'm so happy that Starfield was like the one. I think that it's like, yeah, we ain't messing around. This is what we have. We have Starfield. You want to play Starfield? You gotta get an Xbox. Gotta get a PC. But yeah, dude, Starfield's sick. All right, before we get out of here and talk about the NFL, with week 1 in the books now, we have got some really, really tough things to talk about. Number one, I think the headline of the week, the poor New York Jets, man. Them losing Aaron Rodgers the way that they did. Torn Achilles, 4 plays into his Jets career, and he tears his Achilles. That wasn't just sad to see, people. That was absolutely mortifying. That was disgusting. That was unfair, sad, terrible. I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers guy. I'm really not. Hard Knocks made me kind of like him a little bit more. But that, just like what he's been through, new team, kind of betrayed by the Packers a little bit, betrayed by, like their, handling of the team and all that, wanting out for a while, to him only playing 4 snaps with the Jets, and then torn Achilles, season over, career possibly over. Like, he's about to be 40, I think, and he tore his Achilles. Like, that is not something a 40-year-old man, I don't care how athletic he is, like, that's going to be a very, very, very hard injury to recover from. Now, if he can, that's incredible, but we're not there yet. We still got to make it all the way through. Like, this season's already chalked. Like, he's got to be able to battle back, rehab it, get strong again, like, have that same trust on that Achilles, on that calf, that Achilles area. Like, that is something that you would not wish on anybody, any professional athlete, like, anywhere. Seeing that happen, and how much, like, the NFL and the NFL fans were robbed to see Aaron Rodgers in a different team, different offense, different receivers, well, for the most part. And just seeing that it was just taken away just like that. Like, damn, bro. That's why I think that it might be, for some situations like that, when, like, there's, like, you're going to get hit as a quarterback, just, like, take the hit and, like, fall backward. Don't try to escape, because, like, you get shit like this where it's, like, such a freak accident, where if he just kind of, like, went down, like, softly, or them just kind of tackle him, that wouldn't have happened. But, he tried to escape. He's a competitor. He's trying to escape and get the ball free. And in that process, trying to stay up, he was, like, moving his feet too quick, and then he got kind of, like, stuck on one foot and just popped that Achilles. Like, it's just a freak thing that happens. But, if he did not do that, let's say he just kind of fell, took the hit, probably not an Achilles. Probably not. Like, that's I think a valid point to make. Like, sometimes you just got to know when to, like, take that hit or just go down. With quarterbacks in general, like, if you're going to run the ball, just slide out, run out of bounds. Don't, like, fucking take hits, because you can avoid all that shit, easily by just giving yourself up. But, no one's ever thinking about that in the heat of the game. They're thinking about converting the first down or getting some yardage or moving the ball up. Like, that's just not something that's going to happen. You're not going to think that. It's just not in your nature. But seeing that happen, it's sad. It really is sad to see that. I mean, it's not something that anybody wants to see either. Like, you don't want to see anybody go down, get injured, and, have a, possibly a career-ending injury. Like, it's not something you want to see, and especially with somebody like Aaron Rodgers, who, like, the league kind of banks on, for viewership and shit like that. And just like a good, really good quarterback. Like, it sucks. It's sad to see. It's not fun. But, yeah, I mean, like, as bad as it was, thank God it wasn't like a bad head injury or a bad concussion or like a Damar Hamlin situation where it's like the dude almost died. Like, whew. Much worse, right, than an Achilles, but still, In the long run, like not that good. Some more stuff to talk about. In the NFL, quarterbacks to me are on thin ice, especially top paid quarterbacks are on fucking thin ice. Joe Burrow, Daniel Jones, Lamar Jackson, y'all did not play well this past weekend. In fact, y'all played pretty ass. Now, to be fair, some of this could attribute to offensive lines, offensive linemen, protection. That could all be, something that is also talked about. Like, I'll be honest, man. What if instead of, getting big fat guys or like fatter or heavier dudes to play linemen, what if we just got the same people, the same dudes who train to be pass rushers and linebackers? What if we just make them offensive linemen? Like the same exact type of people, same strength, same athleticism, same size. Why don't they just become linemen? And they protect the quarterback. That way there's no shot of somebody that's more athletic beating out the fat O-line guy and running right past him and just being like tackling the quarterback. Now we'll have somebody who could go toe-to-toe and really block and then have the same athleticism to not get beat all the time. Like, hello NFL coaches, like I'm free, hire me. That would be sick. Maybe that'll give the quarterbacks more of a shot. But still, even with the O-line protection, like some of these quarterbacks, man, like I said, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Daniel Jones. I mean, like, he's not performing to the heights that you guys were, paid to. I mean, pretty embarrassing. Daniel Jones of the Giants, fucking dude. Even fucking Josh Allen, Monday Night Football, 3 interceptions to the same dude. Like, you gotta be kidding me, bro. 2 years ago, you were in the conversation of the best quarterback in the league after one game. I know it's just one game in this new young NFL season. But that type of performance, those types of stupid ass throws, like where there's like no shot, like Stephon Diggs actually tried to bat the ball away before it got to the receiver's hands because he knew he had no shot at catching the ball. Like, at that point, it's like, what's going on here? What are we doing? I don't know. But it's just like maybe with him it's the Madden curse. He is on the cover of Madden. I'm pretty sure like the Madden curse is like you're gonna do like terrible that year that you're on the cover of Madden, and that game, man, he just did not play that well at all. Joe Burrow only mustered like the team to get 3 points in that entire game against the Cleveland Browns, who have a decent defense, but like by no means elite. I get that Joe Burrow didn't play a single snap in preseason, but you would still think that, just based on his sheer talent and skill and, how much he loves playing the game and that how much he studies to be a good quarterback and studies film and all that, like, only 3 points? Like, what are we talking about here? I mean, not to mention Lamar Jackson. I mean, this past week, I have him on my fantasy team, which I did win, by the way. I won week 1. Thank Christ. I haven't won a week 1 fantasy matchup in about 5 years. But we won, thank God. But I did have Lamar Jackson on my team, and he only got me 7 fucking points. Like, actually a terrible fucking performance. I know that the what was it called? The Ravens beat the Texans, but only 17 for 22 passes, 169 yards with no touchdowns, 1 interception. Like, he rushed 6 times for 38 yards, and are you kidding me? Like, we paid you that much money to do that? Like, Absolutely not. No way. That should not be happening. But like, no, that can't be a thing. That this better not continue. Like, I am a big fan of getting players their money. Players that deserve their money. But also, when you do make your money, when you do make your cut, when you do actually cash the bag, when you do get those checks, I expect you to hold up your own end and perform the way that you did to earn that. Don't become Ezekiel Elliott where you just kind of fall the fuck off and do nothing after that. I don't think that these people would do that. These quarterbacks, I think that they have the drive and the motivation to be one of the best ever. Win Super Bowls, hopefully. But, I mean, these week one performances from these top-rated, top-paid quarterbacks has not been great, I'll be honest. Am I missing anybody on that list? So we got Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Daniel Jones. Kirk Cousins did not play well at all. He's been paid handsomely. Still can't really seem to play that well. Not very good. Josh Allen, not good either. I know he didn't get like a huge bag, I don't think, but definitely a quarterback that is well renowned and very popular that had a terrible game. But yeah, these guys, these quarterbacks are on thin ice. These high-paid, high-profile quarterbacks are on fucking thin ice. Who else played bad? The early games, by the way, too, on the first NFL Sunday, the first games were not very good. They were like close, but not very entertaining, which I guess is expected for being week one, being the first time that they're actually going to be playing competitively, where it counts. I expect, some hiccups. I expect some things that they'll clean up in the weeks to come. But not the best showing for the morning slate. But however, the best game by far was Miami Los Angeles, sorry. That was a fire-ass game. Tua Tagovailoa, by the way, dude, I mean, just solidifying that he is legit. Like, that, his performance in that game, him and Tyreek Hill, like, holy fuck, Tyreek Hill was incredible. You just could not stop that guy. He was just blown by everybody. And, like, him and Tua were just on the same page, clicking. I thought the Chargers were going to win at the end, but, like, no, Miami was just... The way they won that game was so fun and just badass. Like, holy fuck. Tua Tagovailoa with that kind of performance. You probably can't pay him because he will never do that again. But, like, that's not how it works. You just got to hope that when you do pay him that he still continues to do that. And, of course, I know this is just week one bullshit, right? Week one overreaction. That just happens all the time. But still, the quarterbacks I mentioned, thin ice. Thin ice. Anyway, people, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Make sure to like, rate, subscribe, review, do all that good stuff. And yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week.